we came to know that the only difference between precipitation and agglutination reaction is in precipitation reaction, a soluble antigen will be participated in antigen antibody complexes, whereas in agglutination, a particulate antigen will participate at optimum pH temperature in the presence of NaCl. The insoluble complex in case of precipitation will be precipitate. Here it will be agglutination. That is the difference. Then I started discussing about the classification of precipitation reactions. Now, these precipitation reactions are broadly divided into two types. Tell me those two types, students. No. You need to tell properly. Here we have precipitation reactions and we have flocculation reactions. Flocculation reactions, right? So, what is the major difference between precipitate and flocculation? So, the difference between precipitate and flocculate is after antigen antibody reaction, if the complex sedimented into the bottom of test tube means, this is called precipitate. If it is floating on the top of test tube means that is called flocculation. That is the only difference. If the antigen antibody complex, if the antigen antibody sediments in the test tube means that is called precipitate. If the antigen antibody complex floats on the surface of test tube means that is called flocculation. Floating flocculation. Okay. If it sediments, precipitate. If it floats, flocculation. Okay. Then in the flocculation we have two types. Tell me the two types of flocculation tests. Two types of flocculation tests. We have slide method and we have tube method. Slide method example VDRL test. Do you remember? For slide method, slide flocculation test is VDRL, whereas a tube flocculation test is a Kahn's test, I suppose. Kahn's test. Do you remember? KHAMS, Kahn's test. Students in online, do you remember these types of flocculation test? Two types of flocculation test. Is it correct? Yes. What I'm saying is correct, right?
Sir.
Sir, there is one more tab, sir.
Yes, there is one more. Very good. I think it is Indrashita. Okay. Anyway, so there is one more test.
Sir, immunodeficient, sir.
Immunodiffusion test. Very good, Indrashita. Very good. Then we have one more test which is called immunodiffusion test. So we have third type of test called immunodiffusion test. Immunodiffusion test.
It's what type,
So
sir?
what happens in immunodiffusion test? Can anyone say what happens in immunodiffusion
Single
test?
diffusion.
We will use gels. We will use agar gel. So in the presence of agar gel, we will do the antigen antibody reactions. So if we are using gels means those precipitation tests are called as immunodiffusion test, and these immunodiffusion tests are further classified into how many types? Can anyone say?
Sir, four type.
Four types. Tell me the four types. Anuj.
Single
Very good,
diffusion.
Anuj. Huh?
Single diffusion in one dimension. Single diffusion in one dimension.
Okay. Wait, Anuj. Anuj, what you are saying is absolute correct, but still we have a slight classification here. So we have simple immunodiffusion test, and we have immunoelectrophoresis. Do you remember? We have another type called immunoelectrophoresis.
Yes, sir. Immunodeficient. Other one is electro.
Right? Now, in this, we are discussing about simple immunodiffusion test. In simple immunodiffusion test, we have four types. Now, Anuj will tell the answers. Tell me the four types, Anuj.
Single diffusion in one dimension.
Perfect. Single diffusion in one dimension. Then
Double diffusion in one dimension.
very good, Anuj. Double diffusion in one dimension. Then third one.
Single diffusion in two dimension.
Single diffusion in two dimension. Then fourth one.
Double diffusion in two dimension.
Very good, Anuj. Double diffusion in double dimension, right? Very good, Anuj and Kaushal. Excellent answers. Now we have another terms for these tests. Single diffusion in one dimension is also called as Odin procedure. Odin procedure. Whereas double diffusion in one dimension is also called as Oakley-Fulthorpe procedure, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Auclay-Fulthorpe
sir.
procedure. Double diffusion in one dimension is also called as Auclay-Fulthorpe procedure. Auclay-Fulthorpe procedure. Then single diffusion in double dimension is called as
Radial diffusion test.
very good radial diffusion. Radial diffusion. Then double diffusion in double dimension is called as
Outer-Looney.
Auter-Looney procedure.
Outer-Looney test. Yes, sir.
OUTHL,
Outer-Looney procedure.
Auter-Looney procedure. Then what type of test we will do in individual test we already discussed. You can go through my previous lecture. So this is all about the immunodiffusion tests. Yes, please come Mahir. See Mahir also coming to offline classes. See how good he is. Can huh? Pura fog outside, yeah. Too much fog today. Okay. Okay. So then this is all about simple immunodiffusion test. Then we have another type of immunodiffusion test which are immunoelectrophoresis. So in immunoelectrophoresis, let me keep it. Okay, so then we have immunoelectrophoresis. Okay, so in immunoelectrophoresis we have three types of immunoelectrophoresis. Here we will apply electric current for increasing the speed of antigen antibody reaction. In order to increase the speed of antigen antibody reaction, we will use electricity to increase the antigen antibody reaction. Okay, and those tests are called as immunoelectrophoresis. And this immunoelectrophoresis are of three types. Can anyone say the three types of immunoelectrophoresis tests?
So rocket immunophoresis.
Very good. Rocket immunoelectrophoresis.
So counter.
Very good. Counter immunoelectrophoresis. Counter immunoelectrophoresis. Then we have one more test. Can anyone say?
So L'Oreal
Very
two-dimensional.
good, Preeti. Very good. L'Oreal two-dimension immunoelectrophoresis, I suppose, right? L'Oreal,
Yes.
very good, Preeti. It is a L'Oreal, L-A-U-R-E-A-L, L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. So these are the three types of immunoelectrophoretic methods we have. We have rocket immunoelectrophoresis, counter immunoelectrophoresis, and L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. Now I will discuss about L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. Okay. I'm not sure whether it is double dimension or double diffusion. I will cross verify in the test book. Meanwhile, I will discuss in detail about L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. So let me discuss about L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. Okay. So see here. Okay. So in L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis, what we will do is we will do 2 times. Let me open the material. Let me check here. Okay. Just a second, students. Okay, listen to me very carefully. Listen to me about L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis. So this test we will perform 2 times. Yes, please come in, Mr. Prashant Tyagi, Sunil Bhatti, and Nishant. Okay, Nishant Sisodia. See, I was very happy about Sunil Bhatti and Mahir because they are daily coming to offline classes. I really appreciate their dedicatedness towards the offline classes. Very good. See, I'm happy by seeing Mahir face itself. Right? So Mahir became very good student. Enough. Maintain social distance, COVID at least. Okay, very good, Prashant. Anyway, so listen to me, students. Kindly maintain silence, okay? So kindly maintain silence. So see here. So in L'Oreal double dimension immunoelectrophoresis, what I will do is First, I will take a slide. I will take a glass slide. Okay. I took a glass slide. Can you able to see what I'm drawing on the board, students? Students in online?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Okay. See here. I take a glass slide. Okay. To this glass slide, I will add a layer of gel. I will add a layer of agar gel. I added a layer of agar gel. I added a layer of agar gel. After adding a layer of agar gel, what I will do is I will drill a hole. I will keep a small hole on the gel. Okay. Then I will suspend a drop of maybe 1 ml of antigen. I will keep a 1 ml of antigen, maybe patient sample. I kept 1 ml of antigen or patient sample in this well. Okay. Then I will apply electricity. I will apply electricity to the gel. When I apply electricity to the gel, depending upon the molecular size, depending upon the shape, depending upon the size, depending upon the molecular weight of the antigen, they will get separated. Electrophoretic separation you studied in the previous semester, I suppose, right? It is you or your seniors. Electrophoresis separation
Yes, sir.
techniques.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that you? Separation techniques for you only? Mahir. Right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Separation
We
techniques
will
you are
separate
only.
Sir,
the
in third
molecules, sir.
semester.
Ah, very good. So if that is the case, what happens means simply listen. In this sample, I may have 5 antigens. Okay, 5 different type antigens. A large antigen, a small antigen, small. I have maybe 5 types of antigens in the same sample. Okay. Now, when I apply the electricity, all these 5 types of antigens will get separated. All 5 antigens will be separated when I apply the electricity. So by first electricity, I separated all the antigens. Okay. After separating these antigens, now I will add antibodies to this gel. I will add antibodies to this gel. Okay. I added antibodies to this gel. Now I will keep electricity in the opposite direction. Now I will keep electricity here, plus here and minus here. Now what will be the direction of movement of antigens? Now antigens will start moving this side towards the antibodies. Antigens will towards the antibodies and they will form precipitates. They will form precipitate lines. So here I have 2 dimensions. So in 1 dimension, I separated the antibodies. Then in the 2nd dimension, I binded antigens to my antibodies. Right? So it is 2-dimension electrophoresis. So in 2 dimension, I did electrophoresis. One in left to right, then from top, bottom to top. I did 2 times. So that is why this is especially useful for specifically binding a mixture of antigens and a mixture of antibodies in a patient sample. I can able to separate the samples. I can able to separate the antigens. At the same time, I can able to specifically bind it to the corresponding antibodies in the sample. So that is the one add-on advantage of this test. So it is like a advanced immunodiffusion test. Okay, so this will be more advanced test for accurate identification of any antigens and antibodies in the patient sample. So this particular test is called as L'Oreal double diffusion immuno electrophoretic test. Okay, so L'Oreal 2-dimension electrophoresis. Okay, so I don't know why, but in the test tube, sorry, in the test book, they didn't given the applications of L'Oreal double dimension. You just do a small assignment, everyone, that will be helpful for me. You just see examples or uses of this test, uses of rocket electrophoresis, uses of counter immunoelectrophoresis, and uses of all 4 tests. Okay, Ordin, oculofulthorpy, radial diffusion, and outer Looney procedure. So just write some 4 points, 4 uses of individual test and give to me. So I will know. Okay. So we can learn each other. Okay. So can you give me can you do this favor for me? So this is your homework. So your homework is you need to identify uses of all these tests. What are the uses of L'Oreal double dimension immunodiffusion electrophoresis? What is the use of counter immunoelectrophoresis? Use of rocket immunoelectrophoresis? Use of Ordin procedure? Use of oculofulthorpy? Use of radial and use of outer Looney. So that is your homework, okay? You need to give me uses of all the tests. So this is all about the precipitation tests, students. This is the complete spectrum of precipitation tests. Is this concept clear for everyone? Is precipitation tests clear for everyone? Any more confusions in this?
Sir, we had mixed antigen sample in this.
Yes, we will mix antigen. See, this is the first. I will very simple. I will take a slide. Okay, I will keep a layer of gel. After layer of gel, I will keep a small hole in the gel. Then I will take the patient blood, patient serum. I will add a drop of patient serum, and I will keep electricity. So patient serum will separate. Then I will add antibodies to the sample. Then I will switch the electricity to this direction. From this direction to this direction, I will keep electricity and I will bind them. Then I will get reactions. So there I will see, depending upon the reactions, I can say what type of antigens and antibodies there. So yeah, this is all about the L'Oreal double dimension electrophoresis. Is precipitation test clear for everyone, students? Students in online?
Yes, sir.
Right? Only Anuj is my highly dedicated, most attentive student in my class. Very good, Anuj. All others are sleeping since it is early morning class.
आपने rocket immunodiffusion, rocket immunoelectrophoresis बता दिया?
Yes, I just said the name. You can write the uses by yourself. Okay. Rocket immunoelectrophoresis and counter immunoelectrophoresis.
Rocket immuno.
Okay, so yes. Prashant Tyagi's question is, what is rocket immunoelectrophoresis? Why they are calling it as rocket electrophoresis, right? Very simple, students. Just give me a second. So very simple. Listen here. In rocket immunoelectrophoresis, what I will do is, I will take a glass line, okay, and I will take a glass line, and I will keep different types of patient samples. I will keep 4 patient samples, okay. I take a gel, okay. I take a gel with antibodies in it. I take a gel and already antibodies are there in the gel. Then I kept the patient sample in the slide. Then I will apply electricity in this direction from bottom to top. When I apply electricity, these antigens will start migrating into the gel like this. They will form a straight curves like this. Okay, so they looks like a rocket. A funny way of stating. Okay, that shape, the way they separated, the way they diffused into the gel, looks like a rocket. Okay, looks like a rocket. Okay, so. Yeah, due to the shape. So that is why they are called as a rocket immunoelectrophoresis. Simple. There is no any SpaceX Falcon Heavy rockets in this. Just tell you. Okay, leave it. So it looks like a rocket shape. That's it. So this is all about the precipitation tests. So now I will move on to the agglutination tests. Okay, shall we move on to the agglutination tests? 2 is remaining. What?
Only one is remaining, sir. Your is two-dimensional immunoelectrophoresis. Just left, sir. Your is 2D electrophoresis.
I need to repeat this one. L'Oreal's 2-dimensional electrophoresis. Very simple, Tyagi. Here the concept is, I will take the slide, I will apply the gel, then I will keep the patient sample. I will drill a hole and I will keep patient sample. Then I will separate these antigens. In patient sample, I may have different types of antigens. It is a mixture of antigens. How can I say only one antigen present in blood sample? It will have many antigens, right? Maybe he may have 5 antigens in the sample with different sizes, from bigger size to the smaller size. Now what I will do is, first I will separate the antigens. How I will separate the antigens means by applying electricity. When I apply electricity, the antigens will get separated depending upon their size. Okay, now antigen separated, then I will, the direction of separation is like this. In this direction separation happen. Now I will change electricity from this direction to this direction, from plus to minus. Okay, now the antigens will start migrate into the gel when I add the antibodies in the gel. So it is 2-dimensional separation in the presence of electricity. So that's it. That is the only difference. That is why this is called as L'Oreal 2-dimensional immunoelectrophoresis. 1 dimension, 2 dimension. So that is why it is called L'Oreal two-dimensional electrophoresis. The major advantage of this L'Oreal is I can able to separate the antigens and I can able to precisely bind the specific antigen to the specific antibody depending upon its molecular size, shape and structure also. So that is, it is like an advanced form of immunoelectrophoresis. By the way, believe it or not, only for precipitation tests, okay, there are 2 Nobel Prizes. Among these tests, 2 methods got Nobel Prizes for identifying these methods. So they are very, they have many uses in immunology. They have plenty of uses in identifying many types of antigen markers in our body. They even deserved Nobel Prize for this discovery. Believe it or not, there are 70 Nobel laureates who are by profession they are immunologists. There are 70 Nobel Prizes from immunology. Now you can understand the potential applications of immunology in modern medicine, right? The guy who invented radioimmunoassay, he got Nobel Prize. Guy who invented ELISA, he got Nobel Prize. Guy who invented blood grouping. Blood grouping is possible only because of antigen-antibody reactions. You have a antigen, B antigen on the surface of red blood cell, and that A antigen or B antigen will be identified by corresponding antibodies. Karl-Heinz Steiner, he used immunological reactions, antigen antibodies, to determine the blood grouping, and he received Nobel Prize. He even globally standardized blood groups by the help of antigen antibody reactions. So now you can able to understand the uses of antigen antibody reactions. The best example will be blood grouping. Blood grouping is not possible without antigen antibody reactions. Okay, so this is all about precipitation reactions. Okay, now I will move on to the agglutination reactions. So my next topic of today's lecture will be agglutination reactions. So as I said, just tell me students, electroimmunodiffusion. Okay, what I did is
type of immunodiffusion test.
We have basic immunodiffusion, immunoelectrophoresis and electroimmunodiffusion. You know, I just skipped immunoelectrophoresis. Okay, so in immunoelectrophoresis, we want. I just skipped one test that is not necessary. Okay. Yeah. All right. So next, students. So in my next lecture, now I will discuss about agglutination test. So just to tell me one important thing, what is the difference between precipitation test and agglutination test? Tell me the difference now. In agglutination test, what type of antigen we will use?
Sir, in agglutination, particulate antigen present.
Very good. Particulate antigen or large antigen. Okay. Precisely, it is particulate antigen. Particulate antigen will be used in agglutination test, whereas in precipitation test, the soluble antigen will be used. If this is the case, which test will be more sensitive? Will the precipitation test will be more sensitive or agglutination test will be more sensitive? For example, let me give you an example here. Which test can able to precisely detect the small amount of antigen in the sample? Which test can detect small amount of antigen in sample?
Precipitation test.
Precipitation test, right? Compared to the agglutination test. For agglutination test, we need a very huge amount of antigens to detect it. But in case of precipitation, even very minute amount of antigen can also be identified. So that is the major advantage of precipitation. There is a table, okay? The advantages or the differences between precipitation tests and agglutination test. So one of the major advantages of precipitation tests are a minute amount of antigen can be detected, soluble antigens can be detected in the precipitation, and the rate of reaction will be moderately speed compared to agglutination test. No. Okay, there are disadvantages. Some disadvantages include in precipitation, reaction time takes too much time, and visibility. Since antigen is too small, since antigen is soluble antigen, the reaction won't be much visible. That is the major disadvantage of precipitation tests. In precipitation, the reaction won't be so much visible like agglutination reactions. Since agglutination we have large antigen, the reaction will be very easy. For example, clumping of blood. Clumping of blood is very visible reaction, but VDRL positive will be really challenging. So the both positive test and negative test looks very similar. In the positive, you will see granules, sand granules, whereas in negative it will be plain. I will show the pictures in the afternoon class. Okay. Anyway, so this is all about the precipitation. Now let me discuss about agglutination test. Now write the classification of agglutination test. I am not going to tell the definition. You already know the definition of agglutination test. The definition of agglutination test is a particulate antigen will bind it with its corresponding antibody in the presence of NaCl at optimum pH and temperature, results in formation of insoluble complexes called agglutination reaction. Right? Is that definition clear for everyone? Students in online?
Yes, sir.
Everyone following, right? Is there any confusions in my lecture? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No, right?
No, sir.
Never. You are the first batch given complaint on me today, sir, when I joined, you know. Okay. Coming to the point. I'm not serious, don't worry. Okay. So write down the types of agglutination tests. Types of agglutination tests. Okay. So we have almost 5 types of agglutination tests. So compared to precipitation test, agglutination tests are very much important. So write the 5 types. So there are 5 types of agglutination tests. Okay. 5 types of agglutination tests. There are 5 types of agglutination tests. Okay. There are 5 types of agglutination test. First, slide agglutination test. Slide agglutination test. First one, slide agglutination test. Second, tube agglutination test. Tube agglutination test. Okay. So slide means here we will use slide. Okay. In the tube we will use tube. Okay. Tube agglutination test. Then third one, anti-globulin test. Very, very important. Write down properly. Anti-globulin test. ANTI, anti-globulin test. Anti-globulin test is also called as Coombs test. Anti-globulin test is also called as COOMBS, Coombs test. Okay. So anti-globulin test is also called as Coombs test. Okay. Then we have 2 more tests which are called as heterophile agglutination test. Heterophile agglutination tests. And one more, passive agglutination test. Passive agglutination tests. Once again, we have 5 types of agglutination tests. We have slide agglutination test, tube agglutination test, anti-globulin test or Coombs test, then heterophile agglutination test and passive agglutination test. Okay. So let us discuss the concepts of all the 5 types of tests. Okay. So first let me start with slide agglutination test. Anuj? Anuj?
Yes, sir.
Are you writing, Anuj? Is
Yes,
it clear
sir.
for
Yes,
you?
sir.
5 types of
Yes,
tests?
sir. Yes,
Any
sir.
doubts?
No, sir.
All right, very good, Anuj. Very good. So let me discuss about slide agglutination test. Can anyone tell example of slide agglutination test to me? Huh? Blood grouping. Blood grouping is a best example for slide agglutination test, right? So blood grouping will be the best example. So in the slide agglutination test, you keep a example blood grouping. Okay, example blood grouping in slide agglutination test. Example blood grouping. Okay. So I need not to say much about blood grouping. You already know how we will perform it. So very simple. You will take a glass slide. Okay, you will take a glass slide. Then you will add a drop of anti-serum. Okay, you will add a
Blood.
yes, you take a prick. Okay, you just add a drop of blood. Okay, you will add a drop of blood on a glass slide. Then you will add a drop of anti-serum. Okay, even concentration, even volume. Okay, 1 drop of blood, 1 drop of anti-serum, and mix it evenly with the help of applicator stick and wait for reaction. So after 1 minute or 30 seconds, you will see clumping. Okay, so a visible clumping indicates positive reaction. Okay, so that is all about slide agglutination test, right? So that is the slide agglutination test. Coming to the tube agglutination test, the same test we will perform in a tube. That's it. You will take a test tube, you will add a drop of patient serum, then you will add a drop of either antigen reagent, and you will see the reaction. The major advantage of tube test from slide test is, in tube test we can able to quantify the reactions. We can able to quantify either the antigen or antibody in the patient sample. I think you didn't get my point. Listen to me. In the slide test, I can able to detect whether the patient has antigen or not. So if I got positive reaction means patient has antigen, but I don't know how much antigen present in the patient sample. Is it 1 gram, 2 grams or 3 grams of antigen? I don't know how much amount of antigen present in the patient sample. That amount can be detected by using tube test. By using tube test, I can able to quantify the antigen in the patient sample. So antigen quantification can be possible in case of tube test, but that is not possible in slide test. Okay, quantitative analysis can be done in tube test, whereas in slide test it will be qualitative test. So there is a difference between qualitative test and quantitative. Qualitative means present or absent, negative or positive, that's it. Whereas in quantitative, I can able to quantify the amount of antigen or antibody present in the patient sample. Okay, so this is the major difference between slide test and the tube test. In the tube test, we can able to quantify the antigen or antibody present in the patient sample. Is that clear so far to everyone? Okay, so in the tube test, in order to quantify, what we will do is, once again we will go back to the lattice hypothesis. We will go to the Prozone phenomenon. I will take the even suspension of antibodies and I will dilute the antigen patient sample and I will add in the different test tubes. In one particular test tube I will see reaction, and in the test tube where I will see reaction, that is the area where the antigens are equal to the antibodies. So that will be the titer of antigen. So that is how you will quantify the antigens. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
In the test tube where you will see reaction, that will be the positive test. Okay, let me tell here again. See students, I will take how I will know the amount of antigen in patient sample. I said in test method, I will know, for example, patient sample, in the patient he has 2 grams of antigen. Patient may have 2 grams of antigen. How I will know this one? How I will know that patient has 2 grams of antigen? That I will know by like this. I will take 3 test tubes. In all 3 test tubes, okay, I will keep same amount of antibodies. Maybe I will keep 2 grams of antibody, 2 grams of antibodies, 2 grams of antibodies. In all test tubes, I have 2 grams of antibody. For example, okay. Now what I will do is, it's okay. So here, what I will do is, I need to make it reverse actually. Okay, let me do in another way. I will take 3 grams, 4 grams. I kept increasing concentration of antibodies in the test tube. 2 gram antibody, 3 gram antibody, 4 gram antibody. Okay. Now I will take patient sample and I will add in this test tube 2 grams antigen and 2 grams antibody, and here also 2 grams antigen, 3 grams antibody, here 2 grams antigen, 4 grams antibody. In what test tube I will see reaction? In the first test tube, right?
2 grams and
so here, yes, here the amount of antigen is equal to amount of antibody. So I will see reaction. So for example, if I get reaction in the second test tube means what will be the concentration of antigen in patient sample? If I get in second test tube means how many antibodies present in second test tube? 3 grams. So patient may have 3 grams of antigen. So by using tube test, I can able to quantify how much antigen present in the patient sample. So quantification is possible only in tube test. Whereas in the slide test, only quality, whether the patient has antigen or antibody, positive or negative, that only I will know in slide test. In the afternoon class, I will discuss a very interesting Nobel Prize winning test called Coombs test. Coombs test is very absolutely important for blood banking, especially for blood bank and transfusion medicine, the Coombs test plays a vital role. So that Coombs test I will discuss in the afternoon lecture. Okay. So shall I end this class for now? In the afternoon, we can go with Coombs test in detail. Okay. So if I start now means it will take too much time. So in the afternoon class, I will discuss Coombs test by using PowerPoint. Okay. So can I end this session, students?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I know today I didn't use the PowerPoint, but I will make sure from afternoon onwards. Okay. So I will see you in the evening. So see you, students.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Direct Coombs test and indirect.
Thank you, sir.